Hey Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And we're at episode 129.
One day, I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
Well, the trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm, and the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose.
Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way. Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Howdy do, Who fans. Hope you've all had a cracking week and that you've managed to do something Doctor Who related. On today's show, got some news, some merch, and then it's on to our review of Mr. Capaldi's single Dalek story.
Yep.
Well, mostly single. Into the Dalek. Which been an interesting one. Got some views on that one. Yes.
Yeah, it's good to do a bit of Capaldi. We've talked a lot about him recently, haven't we? Obviously, with him departing and all that. So yeah, it's good to do a Capaldi episode.
Yes. I wonder if the tears have dried up yet of many Capaldi fans in the wake of his announcement.
No, I don't think so.
No, it's hit hard, that one.
It has, yeah.
It's cut deep. It has cut deep.
It has.
Yeah. How have you been, buddy?
I've been good. I'm just laughing because every time you looked away from the screen in the intro music, I was doing a crazy dance, and I was trying to stop every time you looked back up. I don't think you noticed, did you?
You Which means scoundrel.
I was seeing if I could catch you. I thought, I wonder if he can catch me. So I was doing like, and then every time you looked, I was freeze as if I was doing nothing, but you didn't see. No, I'm good. I'm good, mate. Thank you. Yes, I've still got a bit of the old cosmic angst going on,
yeah,
but I'm better than last week.
Yeah.
I'm back to being half human, just like the Doctor.
Okay. Both hearts beating okay? Yeah.
Yeah, both hearts. Yeah, one's just slightly out of sync, but otherwise all right. Yeah, how you been?
Not too bad, buddy.
Yeah.
Not too bad at all. I haven't been up to much. I've watched, obviously, Into the Dalek, which is only the second time I've seen it. I watched it when it went out, but we didn't review it then.
No.
Together. So I watched that. And then it was weird because when I finished watching that, Doctor Who came on the TV, the channel Watch.
Oh, Watch, yeah.
Yeah, so in the UK we have a channel called Watch and they put Who on quite frequently. And it was the Tennant episode, Midnight.
Ah, yeah, good one.
So thoroughly enjoyed watching through that, which is good. Just finished up I've only just finished reading the Doctor Who mag, the 70s edition.
Oh, right, yeah, good issue that.
I tell you, mate, that's one of the best issues they've put out in a while, that one.
It is. Yeah, it is good.
Really good read. Yeah. And this morning I have ordered and downloaded the second Tom Baker Big Finish audio, The Eternal Battle.
Oh, right.
So I need to get on and finish the last episode of The Beast of Cravenos before
Excellent.
I listen to
that sounds good.
Yes. So Tom Baker's really good at the moment.
Yeah.
I know he's good anyway, but even at his age and whatever, he's still just absolutely crushing it as the Doctor.
Yeah, he's good.
Very cool.
I still need to get a lot of those, actually. I've only got the first 3 series. I need to have a major catch-up. Every month when I get paid, I keep thinking, I don't know whether to just get the bundle. I think should I just get a load, get like series 4 next month, and I think it's about 70 quid, isn't it? I'm not sure. Or should I just get a couple each, like you do? You buy sort of a couple each month, don't you? And I'm thinking, well, it works out a little bit more expensive, but over time, it's not that much, is it?
It's not too bad. No.
It's not too bad. So I might do that. I might just order a couple because I'm really getting behind on the Baker, Tom, Big Finish audios.
You are.
Really getting behind. So, yeah, I need to catch up with those. I really want to listen to the Lala Ward ones, which were already about 2 series back, I think.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So with K9.
K9. That's dramatic.
K9.
Have you been up to anything, mate?
Well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, I met up with a couple of our listeners on Sunday. Went up to London on Sunday, met up with Matthew and Liv from the Who Addicts.
The Who Addicts guys, yes.
The Who Addicts guys, and our good friend Adam, the Ultimate Whovian. Or Adam, he's just Adam Whovian now, isn't
Adam
he? Can't
the
fit,
Whovian, I think, yeah.
Can't fit Ultimate into the Twitter thing, so I think he's had to drop the Ultimate. Twitter is annoying like that. God, I spent ages last night trying to cut words out to get a tweet out. I was thinking it's really not worth the effort, for the time it takes. So I met with those guys on Sunday. That was good. We obviously had to go to FP. We couldn't meet up and not go to Forbidden Planet. And not much in there, as you'd expect. There's no merch out at the minute. So the Doctor Who section's even smaller than when we last went.
Indeed.
So that was a good little afternoon. I did have to... after last week, we reviewed Time Flight, and I was really, really curious to see how Tegan comes back. So I did whack on Arc of Infinity.
Oh, cool.
Enough, last week. So I've got to watch that. As we haven't reviewed it, I won't give away my thoughts on it. But not what I was expecting. Let's put it that way. Because I kept thinking, I thought they just went back and got her. I thought surely they just remember her. No. So without saying too much, I was finding it quite funny because I was thinking, okay, well, episode 1's finished. They haven't even mentioned Tegan yet. It's as if they've just forgotten her. And I will just say the Doctor's face. Have you watched it? Have you?
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah. The Doctor's face at the end where she says, "I'm back" or something.
Yeah.
The last shot is of Davison just going, and if you could caption it, it'd basically be saying, "Oh, bleep."
Yeah. He definitely would. Yes.
So I quite So I'm not going to say much because we haven't reviewed it. I keep going to say things. So I watched Arc of Infinity. I managed to get a bit of Who in. And the only other thing I've done since I last spoke to you last week is I bought a ticket for the next Phantom event in March because our good friend Dashni Ashbrook is going to be there, and so is Annika Wills, and they're obviously going to announce a load of other people as well. So I bought my ticket to Phantom. That'll be my first Phantom event of the year. I know we've met her, but I just thought I'm desperate to go to. I like the Phantom events. So I thought as soon as they announce anyone half decent, I'll go. And as she's there, I thought, go and meet old Dashni again.
Is that over in Chiswick? Is it in London?
Chiswick, London.
Oh, yeah.
Now the only annoying thing is, so I bought that. Thought, got a convention lined up. That's good. Gives me something to look forward to. And then last night, a friend of mine tagged me in a post on Facebook about there's a Westminster Film Fair, which I've been to before. They're very hit and miss. Sometimes they're good, and sometimes they don't really they get lots of Hammer guests and stuff like that. And I noticed they've got a few Star Wars guests there, but I occasionally check in just to see, and hadn't really been anybody grabbing my attention. But last night, out of nowhere, they've suddenly added a load of Doctor Who peeps, and to be fair to them, they're blimming good. So they've got Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Gemma Redgrave, Julian Glover, and who's the other one I'm missing, Gary? David Warner, yeah. So some great guests, and they're probably going to announce some more as well. So the annoying thing is that this is on the same day as the Phantom event.
Oh.
And I was like, that's annoying because there's I would like to get some autographs on like Gemma Redgrave and David Warner and Julian Glover. I'd love to get a Scaroff photo signed. So I'm thinking, Chiswick to Westminster. It is doable.
It is
depending on the time slots that they're appearing, because obviously they don't tend to be there all day, do they? A bit like Phantom, they have them in shifts, and Westminster sort of do that as well. They'll have them in, sometimes they're there all day, but more often than not they're there for a certain time slot during the day. So I'm just thinking, oh no, they obviously haven't announced the time slots yet. I'm just hoping they don't clash and that I'll somehow be able to do too. So what was going to be a nice chilled out day, just strolling to Chiswick and meeting Daphne, has now turned into a bit of a mad dash across London to try and get to meet these people. But that's pretty decent, isn't it, for them?
Well, I was thinking, as you mentioned the Phantom event, I was thinking that'd be cool to meet Daphne and but then I've not met Peter Davison before, so this could be my opportunity to get in there. And
definitely, it's only a £5 to get in, or it normally is. They might have changed it. Last time I went, it was only £5 or £6 to get in. It was quite cheap. It'd be a good event to meet him. He doesn't do a lot of London conventions is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same because he's not out and about as much as the other doctors.
No.
Especially in London, this would be it's £6 entry, this one.
£6, yeah, it's not too bad,
Still
is it?
good. Yep, so Colin, Peter, Gemma, yeah, that'd be good. And there's some Star Wars peeps as well.
There's some Star Wars peeps, yeah, they're doing a bit of a, what do they call it? The, what is it, reunion? Does it say there?
The Bounty Hunters reunion.
The Bounty Hunters reunion.
Yeah, so Jeremy Bullock, Boba Fett, all that, Boss, Greedo, yes.
Yes.
This could be the one, mate.
Yeah, you could shoot Greedo under a table, couldn't you?
Yeah, as long as you shot first.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it does look good. So, I was a bit, excited and gutted all at the same time. It's like really annoying they had to be on the same day, but they do look good. So, definitely going to try and do both of those. And, yeah, you should meet Peter because he doesn't do a lot. So,
True.
up our way. So, yeah, see if you can get to meet him. Be good.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But apart from that, mate, I haven't been up to a lot. I'm just sort of keeping my eye on things. Very sad to report that I can't go to Cardiff in March. I know me and you're going down, go do the Comic Con, and you go do the Experience in March, aren't you?
Yes.
Was really hoping to join you, but I'm afraid train fares, hotel, and etc. are just too high, so I can't do it. So, but I'm just sort of keeping my eye on other things. You know, I'm going to do a few other cons this year.
That's the thing with with train fares. It's unbelievable. If you leave it, as soon as you leave it longer than say 3 or 4 weeks outside of the date you're going, it's not too bad. But if you, they just go up so high. It's so expensive, aren't they?
It is. Yeah,
not good.
I did hear a rumor last night, and it is only, I think something was reported and then got a little bit misreported. Is that a word? It got changed. So basically, a rumor was going around last night that the Doctor Experience had been saved and it was going to move to a different place in Cardiff, which technically isn't what was announced. I think something got a little bit misinterpreted last night.
Oh yes.
So, I think they are looking to relocate it in Cardiff, but nothing has been set, and there's certainly it's not been saved in that sense, but hopefully it will. It's it's good that they're trying to find somewhere else for it. I had a feeling it might move up to London, actually.
It was in London originally, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
it was in the what's that place called? I always get them mixed up. Like Hammersmith, is it always called? I don't know. Olympia, can't remember now. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it used to be there.
Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't go to it when it was there, but
I did. The Cardiff one's much better because they actually purposely built that building for it, didn't they? That funny shaped building that it's in, which looks great as you're walking up to it. It's just like, what is that thing? So it was much more suited to Cardiff and much bigger as well. But the London one was good for what it was. Yeah, and it had a little shop.
Oh yeah,
and you can't beat a little shop.
You can't beat it. Yeah. Good stuff. Oh, something else that's happened. Our website has got a facelift.
Yes, it has. It has indeedy. Yeah.
So after a few months of me talking about launching the new website, I've actually found the time to get it done and sorted. So that's some really nice feedback so far. Thank you very much. And there's also the long-awaited shop as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to order a Big Blue Box podcast T-shirt or a hoodie or a mug, etc., just jump on there. There's a link at the top that says shop, funnily enough. And you can go nuts.
Yeah, I was looking at the mugs. I do love a mug. And you can know there's about 4 or 5 different colours, isn't there? I was going through and thinking, oh, it looks good in red. Oh, it's blue. It's the blue. Oh, look, yellow to go with the Geeks Handbook. I thought, oh, yes, it's all the colours there. Might have to get one of each just to really drive my partner nuts. Every time I come over Doctor Who mug, it's like, where's that going to go? I'm like, oh, don't know. Find a place.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. So you shouldn't be worried.
No,
just let me sort it out. It'll all be fine.
Yeah, but I'm definitely going to get a tea and a mug. That's the combo in it. T-shirt and mug.
Oh yeah.
And the hoodie looks pretty good. You'll be rocking a hoodie, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And being colourblind though, there is a colour T-shirt I really like, but I've no idea what colour it is. It's about the 4th one in, and it looks like a grey, purpley. I don't know. I was like, oh, that looks good. But actually, I know this sounds strange, but I actually can't tell what the colour is. So I might just go safe and go with the dark blue.
Yeah, I mean, the 4th one in is just black.
No, okay, it's not black. I can see black. What's the one that's... I haven't got it in front of me now.
So it's very light grey.
Could be that one.
Then it's grey, then it's black, then it's navy blue, then it's dark navy blue.
Oh, it's navy blue then. It's navy blue that's throwing me, yeah. My colour blindness is weird. There's just certain colours that my brain just won't detect. And there was a T-shirt colour I liked. I thought, I might get that. But the weird thing is, I won't know what colour I'm wearing. So it'd just be like, in my eyes, it would just be like a sort of I thought it was like a sort of mauvey, maroony. I don't know. But is it? What actually is it?
So after black, it's like a sort of royal, rich blue colour.
Oh, I think that's the one I like. And then is it the next one that's slightly lighter?
The next one is dark, like a dark navy. And then the one after that is like the sky blue-ish sort of colour. And then underneath that, there's like greens and yellows. I mean, these, just to let you guys know, actually, because that's a good point. I had a couple of people message me asking about delivery and stuff like that. So the shop on our website is run by a company called Spreadshirt. And I did tweet out a link which had information on shipping and how long it takes and outside the UK and all that stuff. So I'll stick a link in our show notes for this week as well. And I'll put another one out on Twitter. So, so you'll be able to find out the deets on that.
All the details, yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, nice little shop, though.
Yes. And I'll put some more stuff on there as well. I think the plan is I'm going to put an alternate design up there next month. So you'll be able to order a T-shirt with an alternate logo and stuff. And one thing also to be aware of, because it's Spreadshirt that offers all the different colours and so on, our logo has got mainly white text. So it's got the TARDIS and it's got Big Blue Box in blue, but the rest of the text is white. So if you order the white T-shirt, I'm sure I don't need to say this, you won't see the white text.
Oh.
So you'll just have the TARDIS icon and then the words Big Blue Box. So just be aware of that. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that, but if you order the white T-shirt, you won't see the white text.
Funny enough, our listener that won our limited edition T-shirt with the old logo, I think he's the only person in the world who's actually got one. He messaged, we did a live stream on Sunday when I was with the Who Addicts guys, and he messaged, because we were talking about T-shirts and stuff, because I'd bought a Who Addicts T-shirt, I was wearing it. And he messaged on the live chat to say, I've got the Blue Box T-shirt, the limited edition. I was like, yes. Yeah. Look after that. You're the only one in the world that's got it. So, because the design's changed now and everything. So.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, one of a kind.
Yeah, it's a real one-off.
Yes. Yeah. Save that for your kids.
That's it.
It will have something one day, I'm sure.
Oh yes.
That's enough waffle.
Yep.
Shall we land the TARDIS and do some news?
Let's do a bit of news.
Let's do it. First up in the news, this is quite cool. So the name Delia Derbyshire should mean something to anyone who's into Classic Who or into the soundtrack and music of Classic Who. The Heritage Lottery Fund has actually pumped a load of money into creating the Delia Derbyshire Day, which is good, and it's basically to announce the 80th anniversary of Delia, and you would have heard, like I said, you would have heard her name mentioned many times when we talk about the really early sort of experimental music stuff where she was working in I always forget the name of it, I think it's the BBC Radiophonic, that's it, the Radiophonic Workshop. And it was down to Delia and a few other people who were doing really experimental stuff with electronic music and sound effects and all that stuff. And it was those guys that sort of pioneered the way for all the really, really cool sort of Classic Who sound effects and all that stuff that you hear in the show. So on set over several dates, there's going to be on the 5th of May, it starts, which is actual Delia's actual birthday, her 80th birthday. There's going to be some stuff going online. It's a short film from the archives, all that stuff. On the 10th of June, there's going to be, which is Delia Derbyshire Day, there's going to be something called Band on the Wall, which is workshops for families and musical peeps, if there's anyone musical out there, Q&A, special guests, all that stuff. And then moving forward, on the 5th of August, there's going to be a touring event, which is like workshops for families and all that stuff. And then into November, there's a an 8-week educational project, which is going to go out to a few schools. And then in December, there's going to be a symposium at the Anthony Burgess Foundation, which will have guest speakers and so on. So this is really cool. So throughout the entire year, basically, to celebrate Delia Derbyshire's birthday, her 80th birthday, there's going to be just loads of events going on to get people into music, find out a bit more about Delia herself, a bit more about the music she created and so on. And it's good that they've had a large sum of money that's been pumped into it, because I imagine that getting all these events on, the ball rolling and all that stuff takes a bit of money. So, yes, Delia Derbyshire Day. Yeah,
very important lady, isn't she? I mean, you think how iconic that theme is. Although Ron Grainer composed it, I think he was a bit shocked when he actually heard what they'd done with it, because I've seen the sheet music for the Doctor Who theme, so it's really bizarre to think that he sat down on a whatever instrument, piano, let's say, wrote this piece of music, wrote it all down, gave it to them, and then they came up with what they came up with. And he must have listened to it and thought, wow, did I actually write that? Because it's so bizarre and wonderful, and it's incredible what they managed to create. And I think, am I right in saying, and I'm basing this on the Adventure in Space and Time, were they a bit like unsure about it in the beginning? Didn't they, the people behind the scenes at the time, were they like, no, we can't have that, it's too odd or something?
Yeah, I think it was Sidney Newman, wasn't it, that
wasn't sure about it. I mean, it is odd. You can imagine at the time you might have thought, what on earth? Because it's very unconventional, isn't it, as a theme?
Yeah, it was way ahead of its time. If you think back to the 60s, there was nothing like that anywhere at all. So I think Sidney Newman, when he heard it, he was like, sounds a bit creepy, sounds a bit odd.
Very creepy. Yeah.
But that was Verity Lambert just put her foot down, didn't she? She's like, no, so
it's staying.
Yeah, so if you head over to deliaderbyshireday.wordpress.com, you'll see all the details there. And although I keep saying Delia Derbyshire Day and all that stuff, it's actually her anniversary year. So all these events are happening at various points throughout the year, but it's very good, especially the workshops for the kids and stuff like that to get into music and creating music for TV and stuff. That's good.
Yeah, sounds really good. If only they'd kept the thunder crack in the pilot.
On the pilot, yeah.
In the pilot. Anyway, yeah, that's all good. Right, in other news, Class has finally finished its airing on terrestrial television. So the final 2 episodes have gone out in their late night time slot. It won't surprise any of you to hear that the viewing figures have been pretty bad. Overall, the series just hasn't done very well. And there are lots of reasons for this, not just the fact it was an awful series. No, only in my point of view. I know a lot of you out there liked it. So no, there's lots of reasons it didn't do very well. The time slot, for example, is atrocious, and it got absolutely no promotion. Funny enough, I saw Doctor Who magazine did a little article on Class in this month's issue, talking about why it hasn't done very well, and they reported very honestly why they thought it hadn't done well. And I saw them having a bit of an online argument with a guy on Twitter saying, oh, you guys should be supporting Class, reporting it like that. And they're like, look, we're a factual magazine, we can't dress this up any other way. So and then he was like, yeah, but you didn't help, did you didn't help to promote it.
What?
And they were like, well, the BBC never sent us anything to promote it. We're not a charity. And they were just sort of like saying, so there's a lot of reasons, basically, why Class has not done well. And the final 2 episodes haven't scored very highly with the viewing figures. So episode 7, which was called The Metaphysical Engine, or What Quill Did.
That one didn't do too bad. Got
an audience of 0.68 million. And the average for that time slot is 1.85 million. So, yeah, it's pretty bad compared to the average.
Yeah, the worst episode was Detained, wasn't it? That got 0.3, so 300,000 viewers. I mean, the online figures were a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's that's where it premiered and it all went out online, and you can watch it whenever you want, can't you, online? So, yeah, it will fare better. The final episode 8, The Lost, which went out at 11:30, straight after episode 7, 11:30 at night, that is, scored an audience of 0.32 million watching, which is a 5.5% share of the audience. So long and short of it is, it hasn't performed very well on TV. I think it's done okay on the iPlayer, but it hasn't really set the iPlayer alight on terms of online views. It's not been shown anywhere else yet, has it? I think I keep seeing people in America, on Facebook, on the Class Facebook page, saying, when are we going to get to see it and all that. So it sounds as if it's just been a UK thing. Yeah, I mean, somebody out there might want to correct me, but it seems like they're waiting. There's a few other countries out there that are still waiting to see it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the online side of things, I'm not sure on what happened with that. I'm not sure because we did report, didn't we, last year in the news that the BBC were going to be launching their own streaming service in the US.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm not sure if they're just waiting for that to kick in and then they'll offer like some of the UK BBC shows and so on. But I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure for terrestrial TV, like classic broadcasting programs, the BBC normally shop them around and different countries and areas will buy them and then they can, broadcast them in their own countries. But as far as I'm aware, that hasn't happened yet. They haven't put it out for any other countries to pick up. So that's probably why they haven't broadcast anywhere other than the UK.
Yeah, because I know a lot of our listeners, we get a lot of listeners from different parts of the world, don't we? And some of you out there might be sort of quite excited for Class and wondering, you've obviously heard our thoughts on it and you're probably waiting to make up your own mind if you haven't seen it yet. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to know where this is going next. I very much doubt, in my mind, that it's going to get a second series, but you never know. Clearly one was planned because of the cliffhanger, which I'm not going to say for those that haven't seen it, but it does end on a cliffhanger, if you can call it that. So it definitely, a second series was in the mind of Patrick Ness when he wrote it, that's for sure. But I don't know, I think with these figures and the sort of the reaction generally, I'll be surprised, but you never know.
So the Beeb haven't announced anything yet about a follow-up series or anything,
no.
But there is an online petition if you want to get your name down for a second series. And so far it's up to, what is it? Just over 1,700 signatures.
Is it? Okay, that's all right.
So it needs another 758 odd signatures to get to 2,500. And then I think it goes off to the BBC.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll all be down to budget and stuff. I mean, they've only got a certain amount of money to spend on a certain amount of shows. So, they're clearly only going to do it if they think it's viable for them, aren't they? Which I'll judge you by this. I doubt it, but yeah, see what happens. I have heard a lot of rumours that certain bits of it are going to tie into Series 10, which I really hope isn't true, actually. Really hope it doesn't.
Maybe we'll see the dudes. I mean, this is the thing about Class, okay? I can't remember the names of any of the villains. Who was the main guy, like the Pyrovile ripoff?
Oh, the Shadowkin.
The Shadowkin, that's it.
Yeah,
what was his name?
Then they popped up every other episode.
That's it, I mean, it doesn't say much for Class when you can't really remember many of the plot lines and any of the villains in it.
Yeah.
We had the
Manny
flower petals and all that stuff, didn't we? But what was his name? It was Galactic. No.
Oh, I wouldn't know the name.
Galacticus? No, of course not. What was it? Something like that. Anyway, maybe he'll pop up as a villain in Series 10 of Doctor Who.
Well, I hope not, because we saw enough of them in Class. I think they came back more times than I don't know. They just kept popping back up, didn't they? So no, I think we've seen enough of him. Thank you very much. I think it might be the bit with, I don't want to say because some listeners might not have seen it, but that thing, that Doctor Who monster that's very well known that popped up at the end of it for 1 second.
Yes.
Anyone who's seen it will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I just don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't. I think that might come into play, apparently, but I'm kind of hoping it doesn't. I just kind of want it to just drift in. I don't want it to have any relevance on the show because I didn't enjoy it. But
I don't think it matters, mate. We've already reviewed.
Yeah.
The episode, and it has been out online for a while now, and it has been out on TV. So, yes, the Weeping Angel at the end of the last episode, The Lost. It'll probably tie into that somehow, won't it?
Possibly. Yeah. I think that's what the rumours are. Yeah, they could do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we might have a cameo from these guys in Doctor Who. We might have Quill turn up. We might have
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing Quill again, because as much as she's about the only character that stood out for me, I actually did like Quill. She's I wouldn't mind seeing Quill again.
Well, the Moth's in charge still, isn't he? So we're bound to see
he
Clara.
Certainly is.
We're bound to see Coalhill. We're bound to see everybody else. So they're bound to pop up.
Bound to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's going to do for news. We have got the Daleks waiting outside. It's not raining, so I'm not sure why they're complaining. But anyway, let's bring them in.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
So, very quick bit of merch. We have the Lethbridge Stewart range, which has been going for over a year now, I think.
Well, yeah.
We're into the second year. The Lethbridge Stewart range of books, which kicked off with Andy Frankham-Allen's novel,
The Forgotten Son.
Yes. By Candy Jar. They've just gone from strength. It's amazing how they've put out so many books in a short space of time. It's incredible. But they haven't stopped with their main range of books. They've now announced that there's going to be 3 novellas that will accompany the main range of books, which is awesome. The first one being The Life of Evans. And this is awesome because anyone that hasn't seen The Web of Fear.
The Web of Fear, yeah.
Yep. There's a really cool character called, what's his name? Something Evans. He's not a general, is he? What's his name? Something Evans. What's his name? So it's not just Soldier Evans, is it? I'm sure he's got a rank.
Positive, yeah, I can't remember.
Something like that. Anyway, he's a really fun little character in the story, and he's getting a short book dedicated to which that's really, really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's written by John Peel. It's out in March. And then on from that, we've got the Life of Evans. That's followed in May by Day of the Intelligence, which is written by Mr. Andy, and that celebrates 50 years of the Great Intelligence. So that's cool.
That's good.
Then we have The Flaming Soldier, which sounds very good, which is written by Christopher Bryan, and that's out in July, and that commemorates the World War II hero Eileen Younghusband. So we spoke a little bit about her, didn't we, in the news? I think
that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So these 3 these are going to be really good. These are definite pickups for me.
They are, and they're limited to 400 copies. So don't miss out like I did with the Havoc files. Get them pre-ordered now because, they're all limited to 400 copies. Or you can order them as a bundle as well at a discount price. But, I wouldn't hold back on these. They tend to sell out pretty quick when they're limited like that. So
yes,
yeah,
$12.99 each, or the bundle will put you back £50 basically.
Yes.
So which is really so for anyone that hasn't read the Lethbridge Stewart range of books, you really are missing out. They're so they take one of the best characters from Classic Who, and they flesh out the story. Honestly, it's You've read at least the first couple of these, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've got them all. Yeah, I haven't read them all though because I'm slow at reading, but I've got them all. Yeah.
So we've got them all, but I think I'm 2 behind at the moment. But they are such good stories; they really, really are. So if there's an opportunity to grab some extra material that accompanies these, it's well worth it. So yes, The Life of Evans, which will be out in March. So head over to candy-jar.co.uk and you should see them on there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, in other news, or our final bit of merch news, is our friends at Big Finish came out with a bit of an announcement last week. They're going to be doing the Doctor Chronicles, and specifically the 9th Doctor, 10th Doctor and 11th Doctor Chronicles. Now, I first saw this when Gary posted a picture on Facebook, so I was like, whoa, what? Because there's been loads of rumours about Matt Smith wanting to do Big Finish. I think he's been asked, and whenever he's been asked, he's like, yeah, I'm totally up for it, man, in his Matt Smith kind of way. Unfortunately, he's not been announced as yet. So basically what these are going to be, from what we can understand, is a bit like the companion chronicles that the Big Finish guys do. So it's going to be Nick Bridge telling the story, but with cast members involved as well. So, for example, we've got what's his name, Bruno Langley. That's it. Bruno Langley is reprising his role as Adam Mitchell. Yeah, wouldn't have been my first choice to bring back. But don't worry, Gary, because all's not lost, because Camille Kaduri is coming back as Jackie.
Yay!
We love Jackie.
We do love Jackie.
We do love Jackie. So that is good news. And I mean, they haven't announced much more than that, really. So keep your eyes peeled on the Big Finish website to see further details, because it'd be interested to see who they get for the 10th and 11th Doctor stories, I think.
Yeah, so that is one thing to point out, because I think a lot of people got really excited when Big Finish announced this. But so Eccleston and Smith are not coming back to record any Big Finish. This is, so Nick Briggs is just narrating the story, and there's going to be 4 of them for each disc or download.
Yeah,
and like Adam said, it will just be characters from that era reprising their roles, but the main Doctor character not there. It's going to be the same for the 10th Doctor Chronicles. However, it's not going to replace the 10th Doctor story that was out last year. So the Doctor and Donna, that one. So if memory serves, there is still a plan to continue that series when David Tennant and Catherine Tate are finally free. Their schedules meet up. But so these ones, they're narrated by Nick Briggs. So the first one, the 9th Doctor Chronicles, which is out in
May.
Episode 1 is The Bleeding Heart, The Window on the Moor, The Other Side, and Retail Therapy. So that's your lot for the 9th Doctor Chronicles. When's the 10th one out? 10th one, and there's no dates for those ones.
There's no date for the next 2. No. There's no cast been announced for the other 2 either. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they get. I don't know about you, Gary, but this is a double-edged sword for me, because on one hand, I'm like, great, interesting, great to see Jackie coming back, and Adam, whatever. But I also it's a little bit disappointing, because is there not? I'm hoping they get some other good cast, is what I'm saying, because no offense to Bruno, but he's not. I wouldn't exactly. Adam's not the first character I'd like to see brought back. It doesn't really entice me into thinking this is a must pre-order, if you know what I mean. Jackie does. I love Jackie. But I don't know. I'm hoping they get some good ones for the 10th, 11th Doctor as well. I'll probably still pick these up though. I don't know about you. I'll probably still get them. But I wasn't. I was a bit it was a bit of a sort of yes, reaction when I read it, because I saw 9th Doctor Chronicles and then saw what it was, and it was a bit like not sure.
Well, it is cool. It's a good thing, because if they're going to sort of branch out into the newer era of Who, because I know they've done it obviously with the War Doctor and with the 10th Doctor and Donna, that's good. But I think it does still need a bit of a push to get some of the modern era stories in there. So if this is a sort of a stepping stone onto possibly getting Eccleston in, or Matt Smith, or whoever, then that's good. It does feel a little bit sort of scraping the barrel when they announce people like Bruno Langley as Adam, because he's often referred to as not a very likable character and so on. But not that should stop them. If that's how he's written in the story, then that's that. But I can't. This is just my opinion. I can't ever see Eccleston doing it, but I can see Matt Smith doing it maybe further down the line.
Yeah, I can see Matt doing it. I don't mean this in a nasty way, but I wonder if Big Finish can afford him, because it's one thing him wanting to do it, but he's got, he'll have an agent that'll be saying to him, or bartering the price for him, and he probably doesn't get involved too much in that. But do you know what I mean? They are quite. I know Big Finish are a big company in our eyes, but in the bigger scale of things, they are still quite a small little independent company that has a budget, and so that's the other thing to factor into it. Can they actually afford Eccleston and Matt Smith, and that's so. Yeah, as much as I think Matt would love to do it, I don't know. I'd like to see him. Would love to see him, but I agree with you. I don't think we'll see Chris.
I don't know. Well, Tennant's a big. I would say Tennant's just as big or more than Matt Smith, and.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, because
I got him, didn't they?
Yeah, I know Matt Smith has done a couple of movies, in between and shortly after leaving Who and stuff. But, David Tennant's done a couple of bits for Marvel, and he's done a couple of films, and he's
No, you're
Church
right.
is really popular. So
And Tate and Catherine Tate, actually. Yes, I suppose. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, maybe I'll take that back. Yeah. Yeah, managed to get those guys, didn't they? I really hope they do another one of those too, because I loved the first 10th Doctor audios. They were just a fun listen.
They were fun, yeah.
Yeah, they were fun.
Somebody did mention on Twitter about Matt Smith. I think it might have been Martin, Bad Wolf Martin.
Yeah.
He did say that he had read somewhere that Matt Smith was really up for doing more Doctor Who, especially Big Finish, but he wants to leave it a few years and put a bit more distance between, Doctor Who, basically. Wants to leave it behind for a bit longer.
Just a little bit longer. Yeah, I got that impression. He was on Graham Norton recently promoting... What's he been in recently?
Oh, the Queen.
That thing, the Queen...
The royal thing he was in, yeah.
Yeah, the royal thing.
Yeah.
And obviously Graham Norton said to him about Doctor Who fans and stuff. And yeah, that's the impression I got, is that he would love to... He sort of loved it and would love to come back to it, but very much one day, not 2 day.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll read you.
Yeah.
That's going to do for news and merch.
That's it, yeah. That's it for the merch.
Yeah, so Adam, but please tell our listeners what we're going to review this week.
Yeah, this week. So, 12th Doctor story. We're just mopping up those stories we didn't review the first time round. And there's only 2 left, and the first one is Into the Dalek.
Where the hell have you been?
It's not my fault. I got distracted.
By what?
You could always find something. Come on.
Where are we going?
Into darkness. Welcome to the most dangerous place in the universe.
They're coming! They're coming!
Aristotle! The enemy are right on top of us!
I'm sorry.
Old Briggsy there.
Old Briggsy.
Yeah.
We tend to do that, don't we? Old Moth, old Chibbers, old Briggsy.
Yeah.
Anyways, Into the Dalek was on our screens in August of 2014.
Yeah.
It was written by Phil Ford, overseen... Oh, well, he's been credited as written by the Moth as well, and directed by Ben Wheatley.
Moth getting his sticky little fingers in.
Yes, getting his fingers into another pie.
Yeah.
Which he's got no business being in. So Into the Dalek story, very roughly, is the Doctor gets captured while saving a soldier's life. It turns out that the people that captured him have got a Dalek captured on board. The Doctor and Clara miniaturized themselves in very classic sci-fi style, go inside the Dalek, and the Dalek wakes up while they're inside. Well, he sort of turns on and triggers his evil side while they're inside, calls all the other Daleks, and then it's down to the Doctor and Clara to stop the invasion and stop this particular Dalek, known as Rusty, from causing havoc and mayhem. And it all gets a bit deep and yeah.
Yep.
Roughly. So, off the bat, what do you reckon?
Off the bat, a watchable, average Dalek story. Yeah. I quite liked it the first time it went out. I thought I liked it more than I did on a rewatch the other night. I thought when it first went out, I quite enjoyed it. I watched it again last night, still enjoyed it, but yeah, not as good as I remember, but not bad either. So yeah, it's okay. I think it's just average is the sort of key word I'd use here. It's just average.
Sure.
What about you? Do you like it?
I don't like it very much.
You don't like this one?
Not very much. The only thing I like in it is Capaldi, really.
Yeah.
The rest of the problem for me is that I've been spoilt with the Eccleston story, Dalek. That's one of my fave Eccleston stories, really, minus Adam. Not you, Bruno Langley, Adam.
Bruno Langley.
And Eccleston is fantastic. That story is so good. Like, delving into like the psyche of a Dalek and finding out why it is the way it is and having some emotion turned on and all that stuff. It's just brilliant. Whereas this one I found it just to be very predictable and quite a boring watch as well. Because we have the problem for me really is the direct comparison with the Eccleston story Dalek, because at the end of that one, the Dalek says to the Ninth Doctor, you would make a good Dalek.
Mm.
And then at the end of this story, the Dalek says to Capaldi's Doctor something like, you are a good Dalek, or you are a...
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, you are.
And yeah,
he does say something like that, yeah.
He just feels, I just felt immediate. I remember when I first watched it and I thought, how lazy, why couldn't you come up with something, an ending that was different? Why couldn't you come up with something that didn't completely rip off the great story that we had about a Dalek previously? So, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say that is one thing that does bug me about this, is it does feel like the comparisons between this and Dalek, there's quite a lot of similarities that really annoy me, because like you said, it does feel lazy. You've got one sort of standalone Dalek that's being kept in a room that they're trying to work out, and that for a start is very reminiscent of Dalek. And like you said, in many ways it does feel like a poor carbon copy to a point. I mean, obviously they do go down their own route and change it, and it is a different story without any doubt, but there are a lot of similarities, and it is a shame, because it feels like they're already copying themselves, doesn't it? And you're thinking, oh dear, doesn't feel very fresh.
No. And also we have this real, and I know this was the Moff. I'm 99% sure that this element in the story was down to the Moff, where we have Capaldi being a really cool Doctor in this one. And what I mean by that is being quite, not rude, and, but very kind of alien, quite unpredictable, a little bit on the moody side, just sort of taking control in a lot of ways. But then all of that just it's almost like, the whole character and the whole thing around the Doctor is built up to this cool kind of status again. A bit like what Andrew Cartmel was trying to do with McCoy's Doctor towards the end of that run, where we put a little bit of mystique back into the character, a little bit of whatever. But then, the Moff just comes along, grabs it all by the throat and just slams it to the ground, because you have the Doctor getting back into that kind of status and so on. And then Clara comes along, slaps him round the face.
I hate that bit.
Literally. And then it's all shifted back over to Clara again.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? You've made really good progress throughout the story to get the Doctor back into the driving seat, and really making the most of, a pretty boring, crappy story and a very mediocre script. But you've got Capaldi driving it forward and really getting his Doctor back to on the road to a place where all the fans were like, because that's one thing that's consistent with this, is everyone's like, really like Capaldi's Doctor in this one, really good. But then the Moff comes along and writes Clara to be this overpowering, let's put all the emphasis back on Clara and give her the power again.
Yeah, she works it all out at the end, and she slaps it around her face. So I hated that end bit. I absolutely agree with you there. Because the first 5 minutes of this I loved, when when the Doctor saves what's her name, something Blue, Journey Blue. Yeah, I love that intro, because he's so stern but just like so engaging. And one thing I wrote down as well, which you just said, is he's so different, he's so much more unpredictable.
Yes,
that's exactly what I've written on the page here, and you've just said it as well. I love that intro when he's saying to her, she's getting all mouthy, I'm going to shoot you. And he's like, no, not like that. You don't talk to me like that. I've just saved your life. Do it again. And I thought, I love this Doctor. He's no nonsense. You're not speaking to him like that. You get it right.
Yeah.
You respect this man. He's just saved your life. You think about what you say. And I thought, this is brilliant. Absolutely love this Doctor. So first 5 minutes of this, I was totally on board, thinking, I've really missed this Doctor. Really missed this powerful Doctor. And then straight after the credits, we get all the Danny and Clara rubbish. Now that, and you've got to remember that this is the second episode in Capaldi's series. So we've had Deep Breath, we've had all the regeneration crisis, and this is the first episode where we get the Doctor. He's into his regeneration now. We're into the stories. Let's see what sort of Doctor you are. And like you said, I think he is superb in this, the Doctor. But get to the end, and once again, the Doctor overlooks it, but Clara works it out. And yeah, and it annoyed me as well. I was just thinking, oh no, just let the Doctor do it. He's like, the Doctor's. Why would he not work it out? Why would she work it out? You know, it's infuriating. Yeah,
I don't mean to bash them off too much, because let's face it, since when was it? 2009, 10, whenever he took over with Matt Smith, we have had some fantastic Doctor Who. You know, and he's not. He means well. That's the thing. You know, he's not perfect. Of course, he's not. You know, deliberately trying to wreck the program. He does mean well. He's got his head on. He's assertive. You know, he knows what he wants to do. So you can't fault him for that. But it's just this thing that he has with the companions, especially Clara, where he can't just let them have he can't let them have their sort of natural pecking order, or, you know, within the program. And I don't mean that to sound like the companions aren't important. That's not what I'm saying. I just mean that the focus, especially with the Moff, the episodes where he's involved or the ones that he's written, it always seems like the Doctor's taken a back seat.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And especially with Clara, he sort of puts her to the forefront. You know, and like you said, he gets her to work it all out and gets Clara to save the day and slaps the Doctor around.
The slapping around the face really annoyed me. I don't know why, but it did. But also, you said it. This is the second episode where the Doctor should be shining. He should be solving it. He should be thinking, yes, this new Doctor, he's the man. This is the guy that we've got now. I like him. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, she's slapping him around the face. She's telling him he's stupid. Think about it and all that. And you're thinking, what?
Yeah.
No. And
and the grand irony in the whole thing with the Moff era, especially the Clara era, is that everybody complains that Capaldi's Doctor has been written inconsistently since he's taken over as the Doctor, which is completely true, because the Moff has changed with Capaldi's input or not, I'm not sure, but that character has changed and been up and down and very inconsistent over the last two series. But ironically, Clara's character has remained the same. You know, he's written Clara very consistently throughout.
Well, I don't know, because I always think my feeling with Clara is that she changes to fit the story. I find her a bit inconsistent, actually.
Do you
I always
so?
think she's I would probably slightly disagree with you there. Yeah, I just always feel like she's always got that sort of know-it-all attitude. Which is why I don't particularly like her as a companion, but I don't know. I often feel like she's different in certain stories to suit the story. I'll give you one example. Robots of Sherwood. She went from being quite. What's the story before that? I thought she was quite strong. It's the next story, isn't it? Robots of Sherwood. Yeah. So Deep Breath, I thought we saw a different Clara, and I thought thought she was a bit stronger. And then Robots of Sherwood, she goes back to being all girly and falling in love, and I don't know. Giggly. Yeah. So I don't know. There is a consistency to Clara, I think, in that she's quite often annoying, but I do find that she chops and changes to suit the story a bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's something that we've seen with some other companions as well, especially Rose. That's another good one where Rose had a tendency to be very sort of clingy, and the whole romantically linked thing. And then there are certain episodes where she is just very loose and funny, and you just think, oh, it's a different Rose to what we saw last week. You have got a point. Yeah, maybe not so much as she's inconsistent in the way that she doesn't adapt because that's the way the story's written. What I probably meant to say was she's very consistent in the way that the Moff brings her into the story to provide the solution.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Also to very much, provide the strength within the TARDIS, where it should be the Doctor being like the strong one in the driver's seat, solving the problems and all that.
Especially this early on, I think, in the Doctor's tenure, definitely should be. This story does feature one of my favourite lines, though, between the two, which is when the Doctor introduces Clara. He says, "Oh, she's my carer. She cares, so I don't have to." And I thought, oh, what a great line! I love that.
That's
absolutely
cool.
Love that. That he's, she's there to sort of do the sympathetic stuff, and he's there just to get the job done.
Yes,
that's what I liked. Yeah, I thought that's a great line. That is.
Yeah, that was cool. Let's talk about some good things, actually, because there are some good things in the story. we have bashed it a little bit off the cuff, but there are some good stuff, like the whole concept of them being, that was it the Fantastic Journey? Is that what it's called? The really, really old sci-fi film.
Yeah, see, I always get mixed up. I thought it was called Inner Space, but I have a feeling they both do that. Is it Inner Space and what's the other one? Fantastic Journey.
Was it Fantastic Voyage?
Something like that. Because there's two that have this similar concept of people being shrunk down and put inside a body or whatever, isn't there? There's two different films that.
Yes.
I always get the two muddled up. So I think, is Inner Space one of them? Remember Inner Space?
Fantastic Voyage is definitely one of them. That was from the 60s.
Right. That's the other one I was trying to think of then, yeah.
And the other one was, was that one Inner Space?
Inner Space. I might be wrong, though.
From the 80s.
Yeah.
A bit later on. Yes,
70s,
yes, it was.
Yeah.
So, yes, 1987.
This concept of it.
Yeah.
Is it really? Golly.
Yeah.
This concept of being shrunk down and put inside the Dalek is, although not an original idea, it's an original idea in terms of it's not been done in Doctor Who. So it is quite interesting to see them going in to the Dalek.
Yes.
What do you think about how well do you think the inside of the Dalek was realised on screen, though? Because this is one of the things that I've always felt really let the episode down.
Adam, we're talking about good things.
Oh, we're talking about good things. Oh, well, I've mentioned it now.
All right, let's bash it some more.
We'll come back to the good stuff. But because I didn't ever feel like they were really in it.
Well, here's the thing. There are only
that's the TARDIS corridors for a start, painted black.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They're only ever in a corridor.
Yeah.
Really, aren't they? Well, half a corridor.
It is those blooming TARDIS corridors again, isn't it? That they've used over and over again and just painted a different colour. And they've put a few pipes on the wall, so to make it different. But yeah, it doesn't feel to me like they're actually in the Dalek. I don't think they did a very good job.
Yeah, there are lots of tumble dryer hoses, sort of stapled to the wall and sprayed silver and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I mean. The concept of it, while it's not original, is such a good sci-fi concept. And it does work. I really like the idea of it, that they are shrunk down tiny and they're going inside the Dalek. It's like new territory, because we've seen inside a Dalek from like a normal perspective where just the dome's been blown off and we've seen the little...
Oh, the thing. Yeah.
So we've seen that, but we've not actually been inside at that sort of a microscopic level and stuff like that. So... That was all great, but then, like you say, when we get inside the Dalek, it's like, it's just a good old corridor.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I just didn't think it was done particularly well. But I'll tell you, okay, I'm going to give a positive here because there is something just before this,
here we go,
which I absolutely love, is a positive. When they first step out of the miniature capsule, we get this absolutely brilliant effect of like a mirror... watery, like the Doctor's hand coming through.
Oh yeah.
I thought that looked visually fantastic. Actually, do you know the bit I mean? You said they're sort of coming out the capsule, and this, what would you call it? A mirrored effect, a water effect?
It's a bit like in the Matrix where Neo notices that the mirror or something is weird, and he pops his two fingers in, and it morphs around and goes liquefied and stuff. It's a bit like that, isn't it?
It's a beautiful effect, though. Would you agree? I thought that was a really nice moment, actually.
Visually, the episode is very good. I don't mean
the main part. Yeah,
I don't mean the sets. I mean things like that effect and the cinematography. For the most part, it's very nice looking.
Direction's pretty good, actually. I think for the main part.
Yeah,
like with the Daleks at the end. I mean, again, very visually brilliant when the Daleks are all blowing. There's a great shot of a Dalek being blown to bits at the end. It kind of explodes.
Oh yeah.
So I think the direction, and you're right, the cinematography, and that's pretty good in it. I would say that is let down for me by the green screen when the Doctor's giving a great performance at the end.
Oh no!
What?
That the green screen at the end. Yeah.
It really looks. I always think that's such a shame because a lot of this episode does look good. Apart from the sets in certain bits, but a lot of it does look visually good and is well directed. But yeah, for me, very much let down by the green screen because the Doctor's given a great performance there as well, and it really distracts me. He's got like this fuzz around his head where all this stuff's being projected behind him, and it wouldn't even be that difficult to get it even just slightly better because it looks really poor. To be honest,
yeah. And when you're that close, because you're seeing the actual Dalek in the background, and it looks massive and it's close up. Yeah. The biggest problem for me with that is not just the shoddiness of the effect, that they've used. They haven't really matched the color grading and stuff like that with the Doctor in the background and everything. So it looks even if you weren't sort of savvy with how TV production is done and, spotting green screen effects and so on, anyone who's not savvy would look at that and go, well, he's just been plonked in there because he looks completely out of place. I mean, it was probably very difficult to sort of try and visualize. So in the script, there's like, oh yeah, the Doctor's very small and he's given a speech to the Dalek and he's big in the background. It's probably quite difficult to get the perspective and the proportions correct and with all everything else going on. But it looks really. It's a shame because some of the other effects in the story are quite good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There are lots of bits in this where it does look good, but that particularly I think looks bad. And I don't think it would have been that difficult to have made it look half decent. Like the close up of his head when he's giving that great speech, and then there's all this projection behind him of I don't know, worlds exploding or whatever it is. It wouldn't have taken that much just to have tidied that up, and maybe a time thing, a budget thing. I don't know. It wouldn't have taken a lot, I don't think, just to have made it look half decent. But it does look glaringly. I think if anybody was watching that, like you said, perhaps a casual viewer, they'd sort of say, "Oh, that's typical Doctor Who, isn't it? No budget, wobbly sets, it just fits into that. That's good enough for Doctor Who." And I think that's a shame because we'd gone past that at one point. Yep. We'd actually got to a very high standard of effects in Doctor Who at one point, and it seems a bit of a step back to me. But again, if you take that away, and I guess it's not really that important. But if you take that away, you've got Capaldi in the middle of it, giving an absolutely fantastic performance. Reeling off what he's with the Dalek, having the old chat with the Dalek and all that. So there is some good stuff going on in this. Yeah,
there is
for sure.
What did you think to the concept of the Dalek having antibodies within the metal shell and not the actual organic part of the Dalek itself? It's more like a antivirus software rather than antibodies, and a little bit. Yeah. That's one of the things that I found quite predictable in the story. It's like, yes, the only thing that's going to stop them inside the Dalek is not going to be lots of mini Daleks, which would be quite weird. But it's going to be some kind of anti-body, anti-software, whatever. And they looked okay. The little floating balls, little eyes.
Yeah, they look all right, and it serves a purpose. It adds a bit of tension in there. I was shocked the first time that the Doctor gets that guy killed. I'll say that. I was like, whoa, really?
That was good.
That is a good moment, I think, because it does show, again, very unpredictable Doctor that we've got here. And I did find that quite shocking the first time. I was like, oh, my God, I'm not sure I like that. I'm not sure I like the Doctor doing that. Watching it again last night, I was thinking, yeah, the Doctor does say, he was dead anyway. I'm killing him. I'm saving all of us. He was dead anyway, or something. So he's being practical. He's thinking, look, if I don't, he's dead. Whatever. I've got to kill him. Otherwise, we're all dead as well. So let's just get on with it. I haven't got time to think about it. Let's do it. So it does seem really harsh and perhaps a little undoctorish. Can't imagine Peter Davison's Doctor doing that, for example. But that's what I like about 12 is he's a bit more unpredictable, no nonsense, deal with it, isn't it?
Well, that's what he was like.
Well, that's what he was like, yeah. The only bit I don't like, though, is, when they go into the goo and then he makes some quip about, oh, that'll be your friend there if you want to say a lot of that's a little bit nasty, whereas the other thing, he's doing it for a reason, but that does show a bit of a nasty side of the Doctor, which I didn't really think that was a necessary line, actually. It was perhaps just one step too far for me. I thought, it didn't need that. Probably the only bit of the 12th Doctor I don't like in this, actually, is that one bit. But yeah,
that just was a step too far.
I just thought it was a bit unnecessary. I thought, I didn't need to say that, but not a big deal. They do get dry remarkably quick from that goo as well. I know if you listen carefully, he says when he steps into it, it's really hot in here. And I think that's supposed to be the explanation for why when they step out the other end of the tube, they're bone dry and completely clean of all goo and matter. Because I was like, oh, that's very convenient, but no.
Yeah.
I guess they need to move the story on, so we can overlook it.
Yeah. A little plot point there. We can. Where's the continuity guy? Oh, he's on lunch. I'm sure he'll okay this bit. Just
the tube's very hot. It'll deal with. They'll be dry in seconds.
Yeah,
they won't. They won't. It's not hot enough to burn them and kill them, but it's hot enough to dry them within seconds.
Yeah, there we go. We'll go with that.
But no, I don't really have a problem with the antimatter thing, because I guess the Dalek's got to have something inside it to keep it running smoothly. So don't really have a problem with that myself. A bit predictable though, like you said, but it's all right.
And what did you think to the whole concept of the Doctor? Because essentially the story is about the Doctor coming to a realization that he's not this sort of perfect person, this superior Time Lord that's, got the moral high ground the whole time, because it comes to light that the Doctor he's actually got quite a bit of hatred inside him as well. It's not just Daleks that are full of hatred and all that, because towards the end where he sort of merges his mind, if you like, and his memories with Rusty, the Rusty comes to that conclusion very, very quickly, doesn't he? He's like, I see the universe and it's beautiful. I also see lots of hatred, and the Doctor's thinking, he's almost like, you weren't meant to see that bit. He's like, just focus on the good bit. You weren't meant to see that. So, what did you think to that whole bit? Sort of as the story, because it was kind of going that way. That was another predictable thing as well. We kind of knew that was coming, and we were going down that road where, the Doctor would have to make some kind of sort of merge or mind meld or something with the Dalek, so that they both came to a realization and so on. So I thought that was quite good. I really liked the switch. So because initially you did think like, he's gone inside the Doctor's mind and he can see all of the stuff the Doctor's seen, the entire universe and time and all that stuff, and it's great. And then we very quickly had that switch, and the music changes as well, which is good, and the Doctor's expression changes, and it's like, oh, hang on a minute, he's not quite the halo polishing Time Lord that he thinks he is sometimes.
Yeah, it's quite a nice little twist in it, because the story does start with the Doctor asking Clara if he's a good man, doesn't it? So that kind of sets you on that kind of sets that up, doesn't it? The fact that he's questioning it, and then the Dalek actually shows him that he's not the sort of like you said, he's not the halo wearing Doctor that he would like to think he is. None of us are. We've all got our dark side, haven't we? And the Doctor's got it just as much as anyone else. So I think that's quite good. But it is set up very early on, isn't it, with him asking Clara that. I love the way she can't answer, and he's just like, oh, glad I asked. I love his response to that, because I remember that being in the trailer for ages, thinking, oh, it seemed like such a deep scene, and I love the way he just brushes that off within seconds. That scene. But that is good. The only thing, the Doctor, I think I worked out the first time I watched this, I was thinking, surely as soon as he repairs the Dalek's going to go back to being bad. It seemed a really obvious thing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. And I kept thinking at the time, surely the Doctor would realise that. If you know what I mean. Again, a little bit predictable. I kept thinking, well, I can see what's going to happen here. As soon as he repairs it, the Dalek's going to go mad, which is exactly what does happen. But it is nice that we get that extra bit then when he tries to, convert it by showing him all the good stuff again. So it's quite a good moment.
Yeah, we have that cool conversation as well with the Dalek when the Doctor's been put back to normal size. Had that little conversation. He's like, "You would make a good." Well, I can't remember the exact line. He says, "Say like you're a good Dalek" or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think because he's obviously Dalek's translating, instead of saying you're a good man, because the Dalek wouldn't use that, would it? It says you're a good Dalek, I think.
Yeah, and the Doctor's like,
yeah,
that's the last thing I wanted to hear after I've just asked her if I'm a good man. It's like, yeah.
He's not having a good day, is he?
So that's some cool bits there. I did like those elements of the story, and then the other bits were just faff and fluff to me, like the soldiers. So Journey Blue are constant whining and moaning throughout. The other soldiers, they're just there to fill out some of this stuff in between what's going on with the Doctor, really, in my opinion. So not much really going on there. Let's talk about some characters very quickly then. So old Briggsy doing his bit for the Daleks once more, do you reckon?
Well, one thing I did write down actually was that as much as I like Briggs as the Daleks, he is great as the Daleks, but I do wish now and again they'd get somebody else in as well, just to give a bit of variation, because there are times in this, because I know it's Briggs, is that it takes me out of the story because I just see him. I can see him stood there with his little modulator doing the voice, and it almost sounds a bit too much like Nick Briggs sometimes. But maybe just because I know it's him. Does that make sense? But
yes.
One of the things I wrote down is it would be nice if just now and again they got somebody else in to do the voice, or to do a Dalek, so it's not just him doing all the voices. Because if you look at the classic series, the Daleks didn't all sound the same. In one episode, you'd get a different variation of Daleks, and they're not all supposed to be the same thing. So, I just would like to hear a bit of variation, because I know Briggs does try and do different Dalek voices, and he can do different Dalek voices. If you listen to, what's the audio we listened to recently? Was it Order of the Daleks with the church? Yep. Briggs is doing a very deep, much different Dalek voice, so he can do them, but it still has that Briggsy tone to it, which it always will, because as much as you mix a voice, it'll always have your style of talking in there somewhere. So I just think it would be nice if we got some different Dalek voices as well as Briggsy, brilliant as he is as the Daleks.
They did have that on one episode at least. I'm sure they did. What was the one where the episode where Missy's in it and she gets captured by the Daleks and what was it? The which is whatever, familiar. Possibly. Where the sewers they were in, it was basically coming alive with Dalek goop and stuff. So I'm pretty sure there was a couple of people that came in and did additional voices then for different
Could be
Daleks.
Right, yeah, possibly.
But for the most part, it is Briggsy, isn't it? Just doing his
Dalek.
So just standard stuff then.
And nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's just, again, it reminds me of Dalek, the Eccleston story, where we've got him going dark when he opens it, and it's like it's just a bit too reminiscent of what we've had before. It'd be nice if they just mixed it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean there is a small element that maybe they're thinking, and maybe we agree that if it ain't broke, then, so there is that element. But it would be nice to. The next Dalek story we have, which I'm assuming there'll be one in Series 10, to throw in another couple of...
There will.
Yeah. What about... sorry. I was just trying to think of a name, and we did have another voice of the Daleks in this episode.
Oh, Barnaby Edwards.
Yeah, and he's one of the guys that did it for the other Dalek story that I'm thinking about as well.
Ah, so where's he in it then?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's one of the other Daleks. There's like half a dozen turn up on the ship because Rusty summons them.
Is he just in the Dalek? I don't know. Maybe he does do the voice. I'm not sure.
No, he does do the voice.
He does. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I didn't notice it. They sounded too similar to me. Yeah.
And then we had some of the soldiers. We had Danny Pink back. Again with the very wooden dialogue between him and Clara, and
that I must admit, I know this was the second episode to go out, so they're setting up the story for the rest of the series. But I was really getting cross. I was just thinking, Carl, forget all this Hollyoaks rubbish that straight after the credits of Danny and Clara and him banging his head on the desk because he's said the wrong thing, and she's all smug. Oh, go on, you want to take me out on a date, really? I was thinking, I'm not interested, let's get back to the Dalek. I was getting really cross with that. I'm so glad it was only 5 minutes at the beginning of the story, because I couldn't take much of that. It just reminds me of Hollyoaks. I'm like, this is not Doctor Who.
Come on.
He is so wooden, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that between the two of them it just feels like it drags on for ages. The scenes that when they're in it together, it's just like, get on with it.
I was like, get back to the Dalek. Thank goodness the Doctor just appears in the whatever it is, in the room with his cups of coffee, and we're straight back into the story then. I was like, thank goodness for that.
Yeah,
because that's quite fun, actually, isn't it? She's like, I sent you for those 3 months ago. That took me back into the story then. I was like, right, come on. Let's get back into it. And I liked all that stuff. I like 12 and Clara together sometimes. I like those little moments that we get when they're just, those little comedy moments. But yeah. But yeah, I can't say much positive about Danny. I'm sorry. Danny and Clara
blanket, isn't he?
Yeah. And the voice as well. He's so deep.
I know he's had some issues and he's got some stuff.
There's a bit where he's crying in class, isn't there? And it's like, what's this about?
Yeah, one of the students asked him if he's ever killed anybody. Or a
student would ask that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but yeah, you're absolutely right. He does do this thing where Danny Pink and maybe one day we could,
Clara doesn't waste any time asking, going on a date with him, then, does she?
Little floozy.
And you met him 2 seconds ago. Yeah. God, blimey. Yeah. So wasn't a fan of that stuff with Danny and Clara.
So what do you reckon to Clara in this story then?
For the main part, she's okay. It is really just the ending where she slaps the doctor and suddenly turns back to her royal smugness that really, for me, just annoyed me a lot. But for the main part, I think she's all right because she's just, she's okay. Apart from the Danny stuff, obviously, and all that. Yeah,
she's okay. It was just that bit that's written for her where she's because it's not the first time either, is it? Where she said, about slapping. She's like, I'll slap you so hard you'll regenerate. We've had all this violence from her.
Yeah,
it's like
and language as well. Language, Clara.
It's like steady on. I'd be useless as the doctor with a companion like Clara because I'd be like, okay, here's what we'll do. Here's some footsteps. This is the door.
Off you go.
This thing. Don't let it knock you on the arse as you walk out. So we'll see you sometime. Yeah. I'd be useless. I'd be like, get out.
Out. She wouldn't last, would she? Nor would Courtney.
So she does pop up in this. Oh, Courtney, Jesus.
Courtney. Sitting in the tree, KISSING. She's a nightmare. But I do think the whole purpose of them making Clara work it out seems to just be to remind us that she's a teacher. It's like, because I think the doctor says, oh, well, you would do that. And you would know that being a teacher. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, she's a teacher, isn't she? Oh, yeah. So I think that's why they do it in this one. But
we forgot about that, even though it's rammed down our throats. For all of Series 8 with Clara and Danny and Cole Hill and.
Oh, and we see Mr. Armitage, don't we?
Oh,
I couldn't help but think, oh no,
he's unaware of his fate at this point.
Isn't that sad? Isn't it? When he's about to get crushed to death in class, which was horrible. That was really graphic, wasn't it? Yeah. I couldn't help but think that when he was in the scene, I was thinking, you meet a really nasty death soon in a spin-off. But thankfully, not many people will see it.
I'd forgotten about his death scene in class, but when I saw him, I did think, oh, it's it was this episode that you popped up in.
That is his name, isn't it, Mr. Armitage?
I believe so.
Good. Just had to check because they're so bad with names. Yeah.
Let's talk about Capaldi then. For me, the best part of the episode.
And for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Without doubt.
Yes. Like we said, he's unpredictable. He's strong. There's a bit of mystery about him. There's a bit of I think that's the main thing for me is his unpredictability. It's taking the character into a slightly different direction. He's not all sort of happy, dance around, heartthrob Doctor that we might have seen previously. He's actually a bit darker and he's very quick to accept people's death because it's going to, allow them to escape. And he's, like you said, he maybe goes a bit too far with it sometimes, but, they are taking the character into a different direction and really getting Capaldi to be a really good Doctor.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just a shame that he wasn't allowed to continue that. Like I said, whether that's based on his input or not, I'm not sure, but certainly from the Moff, just really changing his Doctor up as we've gone through Series 8 and 9. But from this point, like you said, this is his first proper story post-regeneration, and he's really just on form, really into it.
I think so. Yeah, I love it. I love him in this. I like the whole "don't be lasagna." He just delivers. Who could deliver that line? But no, he's very good in this. I think he's very strong. Might sound strange, but I noticed that I often say about how in series 9 he's sort of hunched over. Do you remember? When I say he's like the cushion doctor, bumbling around.
Yeah.
You have a look at him in this, right? It might sound a strange thing to say, but he's stood up straight the whole time. He's really like, really like, I don't know. It's just a different mannerism in him, which is much stronger. He's not sort of hunched over, shuffling around. What's going on? I'm the mad professor. He's like stood up straight, talking straight, and just it's a different Doctor, and I much prefer it. I really liked Capaldi in this. It's weird because I like him with his mad crazy hair. He almost looks slightly wrong with his short hair. I always feel like they've tried to make him look a bit younger than he is. If they could sort of have him acting like he is in this, but perhaps with a slightly more wilder look, I think he'd be perfect. But no, Capaldi's on good form, considering it's his second episode. I like the Doctor a lot in this.
Very good form, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we crack on with our out of 10s?
Just two little things. One thing that took me by surprise and took me out of the episode for a second was Missy popping up. I was like, I forgot about that. Like, she's only in a very short scene. It's when one of the guards gets killed, isn't it?
Is it Gretchen?
Yeah.
When she gets killed by one of the antibodies, and then...
That's it. She sort of sacrifices herself, doesn't she?
Yes, and that starts off the story arc, doesn't it, for supposedly people going to heaven, but they're actually going into a computer database of some sort. Is that right?
Something. I never really got my head around the concept, but but I still quite like Missy in a crazy little way. But it did take me out of the story completely. I think it did the first time, and it definitely did this time. But yeah, what is I can't remember what's going on with all that.
Yeah, so at the end of the series, we had the whole thing where the Cybermen.
Oh, it's all death in heaven and dark water and all that, isn't it?
Yeah. So the people who have died have been uploaded into the Cybermen.
Oh, yes.
And then they all start coming to
that took me out of it. I found her a little bit funny in it.
Yeah, she's all right.
She's like, tea or something like that. It's like, she's just being crackers as usual. But that, it took me out slightly. And also, so that was explained. We did find out what that was about eventually. But we never found out what's going on with this colour scheme name thing, did we? Like, we've got Danny Pink, obviously. We've got Journey Blue. Clara mentions it. She's like, oh, Journey Blue. Oh, that's interesting. I was thinking, okay, so he never found out what, that went nowhere, did it? Because I think we get somebody else later on with a colour name, don't we? So we thought that was going to be like a secret. Oh, what's this clever little arc or whatever? But nothing ever come of that, did it?
You're absolutely right. But there was another character, or at least another one.
There's definitely more. Yeah,
and they've got colours as their surname.
Yeah.
And we thought, this is every episode, or most of the episodes that we've seen have got characters with the colour as their name. So does that link to anything? And then we got to the end of the series, it was like, I guess it doesn't.
Yeah, it just went nowhere, which is a shame because I thought it was a coincidence. So that's another thing. And just lastly, I just want to mention Michael Smiley as Colonel Morgan. So it's supposed to be Journey Blue's uncle, is it, or something?
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to mention him because he's not in it very much, but I do like the actor. And I think he gives quite a good performance considering he's not in it very much. But I quite like him. I think he's quite a good actor.
Yeah, he was okay. Yeah.
He could have been used a bit more. Because he's one of those actors, I think, that's he's quite convincing, if you know what I mean. I just think he's a good actor. But yeah, perhaps would have been good to see a little bit more of him. Like, I imagine if he'd have gone into the Dalek with them, he probably would have been quite a strong character to have had in there. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he would have taken much nonsense in there. So he might have been somebody good to have taken along, but they don't take him. They leave him outside, which is a shame. But yeah, good actor, Michael Smiley. Just as usual, a little underused, unfortunately. Yeah. But that's it, mate. I think we've covered it.
Cool. A couple of things for me. I liked the throwbacks to Journey's End and Dalek that were played in the background when the Doctor morphs his mind into Rusty. We saw a very quick glimpse of those in the background, which is good. And Rusty saying death to the Daleks.
Yeah, yeah.
Which we know as the Pertwee story title.
Yeah. I hadn't picked up on that, but I remember him saying, yeah, you're right, he does say that, doesn't he? Death to the Daleks, yeah.
So they were quite nice little throwbacks. There was something else as well, another little throwback that Capaldi mentioned. And I can't remember what it is now. I wish I'd have wrote it down. He says another little throwback, but yeah. Shall we crack on with scores?
Yeah, just before we do, want to say how great the Daleks looked when they were all blowing up at the end. When Rusty goes a bit mad at the end, that is quite stunning. I think they were all models. I don't think they actually blew up real Daleks, so that does look very good. Does bring the episode up a little bit, but yeah, let's move on to scores then.
Whose turn is it to go first?
I think it's you, isn't it?
I think it's me, isn't it? Right. I'm going to go in with the middle of the road 5.
A 5. Okay, fair enough. I'm a bit ahead of you. I've gone for 6.5, but then I've scribbled it out and wrote 7. I'm a bit torn.
What does your heart tell you, mate?
Wow.
Go on, go with your gut. What does it tell you?
I don't know. 6.5 seems a little low because I don't think it's bad. I think it's watchable. I think I'm going to go with 7, mate.
Yeah, cool.
I'll go with 7. I think 6.5 maybe just a bit low for me. I'll go with 7. It's just there is quite a lot going on in there that does let it down, I think.
Right.
It's only just scrapes in at a 7, though.
Okay. The 5 for me is most of that is actually Capaldi.
Yeah.
I think it's just a middle of the road, average kind of watch for me.
Fair enough.
Yes. What did our lovely listeners think? Let's kick off with a couple of audio clips. We're going to do Dean Jones and then straight into Owen Daly.
Hello everyone. Now, Into the Dalek I think is a good story that is unfortunately held back by a few issues for me. The positives, Peter Capaldi is absolutely brilliant in this. The script has some really good dialogue in here. Ben Wheatley did a great job directing the episode. It's got a great look to it. The Daleks actually feel like Daleks for a change. Journey Blue I kind of like. And as tiresome as it's gotten to actually see the Daleks in every series at this point, I do like the concept of this military team going in to try and fix this Dalek, and it makes it quite a fresh and unique concept for a Dalek story in terms of the formula, at least. Now, I'd say as far as negatives go for me, there's quite a few. While I don't think the scenes are necessarily bad, the Danny Pink scenes didn't really need to be there. They have no relevance to the plot other than the ending, I think. The Missy bit, knowing where it goes, it kind of feels out of place for me. And I think the Daleks are done too early in the series, and the whole Am I a Good Man is done too early into the series as well. You could have pushed this back until much later on into the series, I think. And the whole I am not a good Dalek, you are a good Dalek. It's a nice idea, but I think it shouldn't have been spelt out for us. I would have appreciated it in terms of the subtlety. But Into the Dalek, I think is a good story. It could even be a great story if it wasn't for the setbacks I think it does have. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Until next time, everybody, so long for now, and take care of yourselves.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Hope you're both well and enjoying the show this week. So, Dalek, I'm just going to go straight out here and say I do not like this. I'm not sure if this is a well-loved story because I'm just not sure. But for me personally, I think it does quite drag, and it's not really a strong enough story idea to carry the episode. Yes, going into a Dalek is very original and shrinking them down. But then again, there's only so much you can do when you're inside the Dalek. And then I do not really understand when this story is set. Is it set during the Time War? Is it set during the Dalek generation? Or is it just a new fleet of Daleks attacking a spaceship? I don't know. I don't feel that was explained well enough. The characters in this are okay. I thought Clara, I don't understand why she was so okay with the Doctor in this episode, because in the last episode she didn't really trust him, and yeah, I'm just not sure about Clara's characteristics in this. I thought the Doctor was written very well. This is how 12 should be written, and I love that scene where he's talking about Clara saying she's my carer and all that stuff. That was really good. Journey Blue, the kind of side companion in this story, I really did not like. I thought she was very wooden, very one-dimensional, and I'm really glad Capaldi chucked her off the TARDIS at the very end saying she can't come with them. The uncle character, yeah, he was written very well, but didn't have much development. On Rusty the Dalek, yeah, there's only so much good Dalek things you can do. That was already done in Dalek, kind of, so I wasn't too keen on that, but yeah, I'm on the fence with... Well, no, sorry, I'm not on the fence on this one. I don't like it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. It's really boring, but yeah. At least for Phil Ford trying to do something original with the Daleks. See y'all next week.
Thank you very much, guys.
some really great points there, actually. Yeah, I agree with an awful lot of what you guys just said. Yeah.
Dean Jones and Owen Daly, thank you very much. Right, over to Facebook. We had quite a few, so I'm going to try and rattle through these relatively quick.
We had loads, didn't we? Yeah.
So Sammy Satine says, Journey Blue spaceship gets hit. She gets saved at the last second by the Doctor. He then takes her back to her uncle, who then asks him for help with a damaged Dalek. Clara, 12 gets Clara, and they get miniaturized to help sort out what is wrong with Rusty the Dalek. She says, I must admit, I find it an interesting idea going inside a Dalek, except the bits Danny Pink is in, because he managed to somehow go absolutely nowhere as a character. I still absolutely hate Clara. I think she was okay in this. Seeing Missy for the brief time she was on screen feels kind of out of context. Why does 12 think all Daleks are evil and should be destroyed? Has he forgotten Oswin, the Dalek-Sec hybrid, and Khan, all of whom showed a different side to the Daleks?
True.
Oswin helped 11 through the asylum. The Dalek-Sec asked for 10's help and thought Solomon's death and other deaths were wrong. Plus Dalek Khan helped 10 reunite with Donna, thus causing the meta-crisis 10 to be created and make Donna part of Time Lord. My point being, he seems to have forgotten that the Daleks aren't just about hate and killing by extermination. They are living, thinking, complex creatures. Perhaps this is not 12's fault. Perhaps the fault lies with the Moth, or who, although he tries hard with his story, has forgotten all about that because it's easier to be black and white, as in the Daleks are evil, the Doctor is good, rather than remembering there are shades of grey. Still, she thinks it's an excellent story, 8 out of 10.
All right, good. High score from Sammy.
Yeah. Joe Sweeney says, quite a good story. I'm impressed with how the producers threw in a fresh idea for a Dalek story compared to where we've been over the years. I love the interaction between the Doctor and Blue from the start, and the Doctor being ordered by Blue to put the gun down and say thank you. Capaldi was fantastic, bringing out the best of the Doctor, having the darkness hard-hearted and cold to his personality, which is what his Doctor's supposed to be throughout his era. That was going in the right direction for Peter before the blooming BBC came along and mucked up his Doctor. Clara was great, even when she had her feisty side. Yet again, shame that got short-lived, quite like Blue. There were good throwbacks to the Stolen Earth and Journey's End. Overall, it was a good story. However, not sure of that scene of one Dalek taking out the whole Dalek fleet single-handedly. Gives it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, he's got a good point about that. I thought he managed to take them out very easily, didn't he?
Yeah, a bit of a Rambo moment. Yeah. Kevin Mullin says, wonderfully dark, Into the Dalek is a superior Dalek story because it attempts to do something different with the metal Nazi octopi from outer space. In this story, it's the fact we discover that their emotions are forcibly stripped away and suppressed by technology, leaving them as much a victim as those they ruthlessly kill. Capaldi is simply magnificent, giving us a Doctor who is pessimistic, cold, somewhat detached and very alien. His dismissal of the death of one of the soldiers is very dark, but it is when Rusty turns the spotlight on his faults that we learn there is a very thin line between the Time Lord and his mortal enemies. He is devastated by that observation. Direction by Ben Wheatley is tense and filmic, and the acting is very good, as are the effects. These points, coupled with an intriguing and original take on the Dalek, gives us a very worthwhile story. 9.75.
All right.
So he's given us a point.
Very high score.
Yeah, very precise. Simon Askuri says, hi guys, I'm a new listener to your podcast and I'm enjoying working through the back catalogue.
Oh, excellent. Cheers.
Welcome aboard, Simon. Into the Dalek, I love. Probably my favourite of Series 8. Why, I hear you ask? Well, Capaldi's true Doctor comes out. Hard, cold and very alien. I love the way he pictures his performance throughout the episode, from the reactions to having Blue threatening him in the TARDIS, the fact he doesn't remember who any human is, the way he kills the other soldier, in quotes, and his speech to Rusty at the end. Amazing, with one of Murray's best cues in the series. Visually, it feels very classic to me. Just classic Who with a faster pace. If only the Beeb allowed Capaldi to keep playing this version of the Doctor.
Yes.
He scores it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, very high. Excellent.
Yes.
Good to have you on board.
Yeah, thank you very much, Simon. Lewis Palmer says, honestly, it's a bit forgettable for me. I never have anything much to say about it. Capaldi in his first scene is great, though, as a serious, angry and grumpy man, not taking kindly to his new person aboard the TARDIS in the form of Journey Blue. Other than that, the Daleks killing people for once was nice. Can you believe this was the first time since 2010's Victory of the Daleks that they had actually killed someone? I think it's a 6 out of 10 for me.
Fair play, yeah.
Mark Atkinson, I think Capaldi is at his most undoctorish in this episode. It's an okay sort of story, but Dalek fatigue had kicked in for me at this point. We'd already seen too much of them recently, but a 7 out of 10.
Okay, still high school.
Yeah, Miles Mackenzie had quite a few low expectations for this story, and when it first came out, the Daleks barely ever killed in Series 5 and 7, but this turned into a decent story. I love Capaldi in it, and his excuse on what took him so long for coffee. Clara didn't feel overused in this one, nor underused. Rusty was a very fun idea, and the visuals are amazing. 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Jeff Waddle says, a middle-of-the-road Dalek episode, aren't they all, apart from Dalek?
Yeah.
I completely agree, Jeff. And unfortunately, a middle-of-the-road Capaldi one. Yet again, Clara seems to be whatever she needs to be in the episode. How did she know how a Dalek works inside?
True.
5 out of 10. Let's do a couple more audio clips. So let's do this one. This is from Loopy Lou.
Alrighty, I'm just going to jump straight in and say that this was such a wasted opportunity for sound design. They could have had so much fun and gone absolutely nuts making all sorts of cool new sounds for Inside the Dalek. I thought that was a real shame. It's quite nice visually though, and there's lots of interesting camera angles and such. How dare Doctor Who steal Star Trek lines? Resistance is futile? Come on, it's not even used for a good reason. Okay, so you can see some similarities between the Daleks and the Borg, but it's hard to know if they put that phrase in deliberately or not, as it wasn't done in a joking way. Anyway, Capaldi's Doctor was quite brutal and matter-of-fact early on, wasn't he? Much more alien. I like him like this, and I prefer his short hair too. Clara is great with him in this episode. He was very serious back then. He definitely gets more jovial and softer over time. Despite my grievances, I thought this was a good episode. I'd give it 7.5 out of 10.
Thank you very much, Lou.
Thank you, Lou. Diving straight into the Dalek there she was. She does have a very good point about the sound design. I mean, maybe because I said it didn't feel like they're in the Dalek at all to me.
Yeah.
They could have done so much more with it.
Very true. Back on Facebook, Russ Hilton says, the story gave rise to the soundbite I used for text messages for months afterwards. She cares, so I don't have to.
Brilliant line.
For me, that line and this story confirmed what I was looking for in Capaldi, a Pertwee-style Doctor for the modern era. A brilliant new take on a Dalek story and one that confirmed Capaldi as the Doctor for me, 8.5.
Yeah, good stuff.
George Coppen, one of his more average episodes, but I do like Rusty, especially at how quick he fires. 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
I always say this surname incorrect, so I'm very sorry. Maria Kalatichau. She says, an interesting story. I love how brittle Capaldi's Doctor appears here compared to Series 9. He doesn't have time for being nice. I never really thought about the Doctor hating the Daleks. I suppose he has battled them so many times and they were part of the Time War. It's inevitable. I like the premise of a good Dalek and a changed Dalek. My criticism would be, obviously, the Moff bits, Clara and Danny. The awkwardness and flirting, the smugness and their relationship in retrospect doesn't really have a place and takes away from the tension of the story. And she says, it's nice when the Doctor... she says, and since when does the Doctor not like Star Soldiers?
Oh, yeah, I was going to mention that.
He worked with Unit and the Brig, bit inconsistent. Anyways, loving the good work, guys. Thank you very much.
That's one thing that bugs me, actually. Why does the Doctor suddenly hate soldiers?
Yeah.
I think, does Joe Sweeney come up with a good...
He does, yes.
What does he say? Because he's got a very good point, actually.
He says that his theory is that the Doctor was a soldier himself during the Time War. And him seeing soldiers is a reminder of that, and he doesn't really like it because the Time War affected him so much it's hard to forget about being in war and soldiers, etc. This is why a Doctor never carries weapons or guns, etc.
Joe, I'm really glad you said that because it really it bugged me throughout Capaldi's Series 8 when he kept going on about soldiers. He does it in the Caretaker. He does it with Dan. I kept thinking, where's this come from? Because he's worked with Unit all this time. Where has this come from? But I think Joe makes a really good point there, and I can totally buy into that actually, and it does ease my annoyance when the Doctor. So yeah, thank you for that, Joe. I think you've got a good theory there, mate.
Yeah. Moving on, last few, Danny Brown says, pretty good by all accounts, good cast and plot, although distinct lack of Dalek action is a slight problem for me. Capaldi great as always, 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Joseph Howarth says, I quite liked Into the Dalek. I honestly think it felt more like an actual Dalek story than the majority of Matt Smith's run, where the Daleks there didn't really do much, and with Rusty killing loads of soldiers in the episode makes it rather refreshing in my opinion. Goes on to say, Peter was great in this, and I really felt like this is what they should have gone with for Series 9. More dark, a bit more alien in terms of the Doctor. The plot's a bit samey because A, it's kind of reusing the plot from Dalek, and B, the shrinking down to the size of a gnat in a capsule thing has been done before, but admittedly, it's executed a lot better than The Invisible Enemy when I was using that particular subplot. I love how it goes into the lore of the shows with this episode, and it got us a chance to see the footage from previous episodes. The only thing that wasn't needed was Danny Pink. Not a lot of love for Danny, eh?
No.
He said, yes, we get it. He's a soldier. Yes, he wants to date Clara. We get it. Why it was necessary to have Danny pair up with Clara as a couple in Series 8, I'll never know. Thankfully, the scenes with Danny don't last very long, but honestly, they don't contribute to the plot in any way. True. He gives it 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Jason Thayer says, I love it. I like stories that acknowledge that the Doctor is at best an anti-hero. Yes, there are some distinct similarities with Dalek, but I think this story is actually a little better because the Doctor actually goes inside, making the "you are a good Dalek" line even more of a zinger. And finally, on the official Facebook page, Finn Morris Young says, Into the Dalek thought was not bad, and the characters were quite good, quite strong. Peter Capaldi was on top form as always, and Jenna's performance was better than some stories. Should Journey Blue have boarded the TARDIS at the end? Probably not. Overall, It's not a bad story. 7 out of 10. The Dalek could have been used, could have had some anti-radiation gloves, if you ask me. And our last audio clip before we move on to the Geek's Handbag, this is Jay Kent.
Hey Gary and Adam, hope you're doing fine. Now, when I first watched Into the Dalek, I wasn't entirely settled on the idea. The whole concept of shrinking yourself to go inside someone else has been done a billion times before, from Rick and Morty to the Rugrats. It didn't have that uniqueness I'd expect from Doctor Who. But as time went on, it grew on me, and it's mainly due to the Doctor's morals. The fact he's holding out hope to teach the Daleks passion and see their ways are wrong seems like exactly the thing the Doctor would want to do. And when he's talking to the annoyingly pet-named Rusty and telling him of the wonders of the universe or whatever, I just think it's brilliantly done. This episode shows 12 how I think 12 should be. Still slightly detached and alien, but still hopeful and enthusiastic and optimistic. But as an episode, it feels like filler, and Daleks should never have a filler episode. I'm not a fan of singular Dalek stories anyway, because they feel awfully rushed, and this is no exception. But still, it's one I can sit down and have a good time with. I'd give it a good old 6 or 7 out of 10. Hope you have a good one, guys, and just one more thing. Be my pal. Tell me, am I a good man?
No, Jay, you're lasagna.
Thank you very much, Jay. Did you have anything over on the Geek's Handbag page?
Yes, I did. Yeah, we got loads of feedback this week, so I'll rattle through these. So Charlie Turner says, this is one of the most easiest episodes I can think of what to say for. As everyone who has watched the show for a while now, this is Capaldi's first meeting with the good old classic Pepper Potts. To me, it's a brilliant episode and the best of Series 8. Flatline is a very close second.
Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts. But there are 3 things that bother our good friend Charlie. First of all, I don't see how Journey Blue and Colonel Morgan Blue are related as uncle and niece. Second, Danny Pink, no offence to Samuel Anderson, but I think he was nothing but a plot device and a bad performance from him in his eyes. And third, I noticed similarities from Dalek from 2005. Other than those 3 things, it's a really good, underrated gem. Charlie's given it 7 out of 10, deducting 3 points because of the things that bothered him. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Patrick Sherwood, hi. So, Into the Dalek. This story is okay, I don't mind it, but it's not a story I would go and watch at any time because I don't think the cast is that good. Capaldi is okay in it. I know that this story is his second episode he has done and he's still getting into Doctor, but the story I think is not one of the best from Series 8. and the Dalek in it is okay when the Doctor and others go into the Dalek. No pun intended. I thought it was cool. It was something new we haven't seen in Doctor Who ever, and I like it. So overall, he's going to give this episode a 8.5 out of 10 from Patrick. Okay,
cool.
Quite high score. Stan Gallagher keeps it short and sweet. I love this. When they went inside the Dalek was great. I miss Peter. Oh, well, he will miss Peter, he says. Hendrix Chaplin, hi Hendrix, he says, this is a rip-off of Dalek and it was far too early to do a Dalek story with the new Doctor. Was strange having it as the second episode, I will admit.
A little bit.
Aaron Ball, an underrated episode indeed, back when 12 was truly different and dark. It has a great concept and suits the 12th Doctor perfectly, plus brings back the Dalek scariness in the last scene, just like Dalek. I'd give it a 7.5, says Aaron. Cool. Finally, our good friend Adam Time Lord Fishwick says, Into the Dalek is my all-time favourite story from Series 8, and I love how the Doctor was in charge in the group. He was very dark when he lets Ross die by the antibodies. I really like the whole Dalek story. It was something different, which was really good. It reminded me of back when Dalek Sec wanted to start the Daleks again in Daleks of Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. And the interesting thing about it is the Doctor wants to help the Daleks become good. And I think it was good that the Doctor became good, but it was still dark how the Dalek said to the Doctor, you are a good Dalek. And I have to give this story, he says, a very strong 9 out of 10. So Adam, a big fan of this story.
Very cool.
I'm just wondering, can you remember what you gave it? Because you did review this on your own back in the day. Can you remember what you scored it? Do you think your opinion of it's changed, or do you think you're the same?
What did I give it before?
It was episode, so you reviewed this is before I jumped on board and invaded your TARDIS. It was back in episode 12 you reviewed this on your own. On your own when you was chatting away to yourself.
Oh, interesting. I gave this a 7.
Did you? So it's gone down.
It's gone down on a rewatch. Yeah.
There we go.
So we had tons of thoughts and feedbacks from you guys this week. Thank you so much. That's really cool. Next week was Classic Week. And it's Series 6. The first episode of Series 6 back in 68. So, Adam, what are we going to do next week?
Oh, series opener. It is second Doctor story, The Dominators.
Troughton,
bit of Troughton, yeah.
Bit of Troughton. The Dominators. Wow, crikey. Cool. That's going to be a good one.
Sounds exciting. I can't remember it, as usual.
Yes.
Yeah, not one I've watched for a while.
A 5-parter, no less.
Is it?
It's 5 parts.
All right, might have to start this one early. Who's the companion? So Series 6, it'll be
Zoe,
Jamie and Zoe?
Yeah, Jamie and Zoe.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent.
Very good. So look out for the Facebook post and all that jazz, so you can send in your thoughts and feelings and all that stuff for the Dominators. And I think we're going to do there for 129.
All righty.
Thank you for sticking with us and going through episode 129. We had some fairly good news. We'll put some details and links and stuff to the Delia Derbyshire stuff that's going on throughout the year. That should be quite good if you're into the whole music thing, and especially the pioneering music stuff that Delia did back in the day for Who. That'd be good. Not sure how you guys are feeling about the class ratings. It's a bit predictably low, but there we go. Maybe some of you have picked up the DVDs and Blu-rays, so you don't have to watch it at nearly midnight when it was on. Remember to pick up or order the companion books to the Lethbridge Stewart. The first one kicking off next month. All about Soldier Evans, Mr. Evans. Which will be good. And next week, it is Classic Week, so it will be, as Adam said, The Dominators.
I've just typed it into Google. I just wanted to have a look at it, and unfortunately, it came up with Doctor Who Dominoes. I just clicked on it, didn't check it before I pressed enter. Doctor Who Dominoes. But it's Quarks.
The two Quarks.
Yeah, Quarks got there in it, so yeah, that'd be good.
The walking suitcases. Head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.com. From there, you can listen to all the previous shows, and you can also link off to all the social stuff, and you can also head over to iTunes from there so that you can subscribe and not miss a show. And to all of our listeners that do listen to us on iTunes, if you could give us a review and a rating, that would be fantastic, because that really helps us out loads. Also, check out Adam's channel on YouTube called The Geek's Handbag.
Yeah.
Loads of good stuff there. Unboxings, reviews, on-the-spot reviews, convention stuff. It's all there. It's all good
there
stuff.
For your enjoyment. Yeah.
So search for The Geek's Handbag on YouTube and also Facebook and Twitter.
And just quickly, if you buy a Blue Box t-shirt, post a picture of you wearing it so we can see, or a mug.
Oh yeah,
whatever
selfies.
you buy, or a hoodie. Let's have some selfies with some Blue Box merch. It'd be great to see you guys in our stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so until next week, my name's Gary.
My name's Quark.
And remember,
Elmozy.